Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Early Morning Horror. Honestly, I feel like I had more stuff scripted out right then, but today we are finally going through Bring Her Back. I know I'm pretty behind, but I actually have it ready and I took notes. Like actual notes. I actually took notes for this movie. I rewatched it last night and I took a bunch of notes, basically like any sort of kind of key thing that I would want to be mentioned is what's on here. So that's definitely something, and I just got random facts about the movie. So without further ado, let's get into it. I hope that you're all having a wonderful morning, and I hope that you all got your coffee or your energy drink or your tea or whatever it is that you use. And if you don't use anything, then you're a trooper because I could never. Okay, so the guys that made Talk to Me, Michael and Danny Filippo, Filipao, I don't know how to say it, but they're also known as Raka Raka from YouTube. They made a lot of really funny videos, like the Assassin's Creed video, the Halo versus Call of Duty video. Like they made a lot of good videos before they got Talk to Me script sold to A24, and then after that they ended up making this as well. But for the cast, for character Piper, she is the blind stepsister. She is played by Sora Wong. She does really good. You've got Sally Hawkins playing Laura. She's the foster parent. She does amazing. You got Billy Barat playing Andy. He is the stepbrother to Piper. And then you've got Jonah Phillips playing Oliver. All of these actors did really good in this movie. If this movie has a strong suit, it is the amount of passion that the actors had during this. Sally Hawkins really does stand out in this movie. I was really surprised. If you're going to check it out, please do. I'm going to recommend it. But yeah, the budget for it was $15 million, and internationally it grossed 39.4 million. So that's pretty successful if it's making more than double. Some of the ratings that it got was for 89% on Rotten Tomatoes. IMDb gave it a 7.1 out of 10, and Letterboxd gave it a 3.7 out of 5. Those are all pretty fair, I'd say. On a personal scale, if I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably say this like an 8, an 8.5 maybe, simply because it wasn't as scary as Talk to Me was, I would say, but there are definitely some scenes that they had me uncomfortable. All of the filming took place in South Australia, which to me is really cool, because that's where they're all from, I believe, is Australia. And that's kind of like just a little side note. This movie is confirmed to take place in the same universe as Talk to Me. So anything that happened in Talk to Me, like the hand and stuff, it exists in the universe of Bring Her Back. And vice versa. That means that this ritual exists in Talk to Me. Very curious if that will go anywhere. Okay, so now that I got all those little general factoids out, we're gonna start talking about the rest of the movie. I'll be honest, my notes are kind of weird, kind of short, sound kind of dumb. And it's 3:39 in the morning. I apologize if I leave some stuff out, or if I did leave some stuff out, But the reason why I took these notes was to try and keep myself on track. So hopefully I can do that. So the movie starts out with Piper, his stepsister. Outside, she walks up. She's trying to talk to these girls, and they can tell that she is blind. At least one of her eyes is facing towards them, and the other one is kind of like fidgety. But then, then Andy walks up, her stepbrother, and she's like, "I don't know this pedophile." It's like, "Oh shit, you can't say this." Anyways, they go back home, and just like that, boom, naked dead dad. He looks like he slipped and fell in the shower and hit his head and puked and choked on it, probably, if I had to guess. Piper's the only one that was given CPR. Andy was standing there like in shock. I don't blame him because that would be a very shocking moment for anybody. But they end up going to a lady named Wendy, who is Child Protective Services, their agent, I would say, to try and get them put into a foster home. Well, they end up saying Laura, but they want to separate the both of them. But that's not going to work out. Okay, neither one of them wants to get separated from the other. They want to stay together. They just went through probably one of their most traumatic moments, which is losing a parent. And but neither one of them is 18 years old. He's about to be in like 3 months, but anyways, they end up going to Laura's, and this is how you know this lady might be just a little bit off her rocker. Is she immediately has a stuffed dog. Not saying that there's anything wrong with having a stuffed dog, but I feel like having like a former pet treated as decoration. I don't know. I'm just I always preferred burying my pets, kind of like we do people. But they end up doing like this little tour. Piper wants to know, is there a backyard? And Andy's like, yeah, there's a backyard. Let's go. They open the door. This cat gets out. In the same moment, Laura says, "Oh yeah, by the way, don't let the cat out." And then next thing you know is this other kid, Oliver, is standing in this pool holding this cat, and this cat is scratching this dude up. Because Oliver's not wearing a shirt, and he is the creepiest little fucker. If you ever had a kid just stare at you, monotone, there's no freaking emotion, there's no smile, no laugh, nothing. He's a terrifying kid. Pretty soon I think we have like a overhead shot showing the salt circle around the house, or not even like a overhead shot, but it kind of shows this part of this circle whenever it cuts back to Andy getting stuff out of his car. Which, if you're a fan of Supernatural, you know salt circles do is they trap ghosts and stuff. But Andy gets set up. I mean, Piper's getting her room set up. He's getting his room set up. And he's texting one of his friends, and he called Oliver a weirdo. I mean, shoot, I would think that he's a weirdo too if I just seen him holding a cat and he's getting scratched to pieces and he doesn't make any ounce of sound or he doesn't do anything. I'd be calling him a weirdo too. But Laura ends up getting on his phone and reading his messages like not even 2 minutes later. And he kind of said, Laura, what are you doing? And he grabbed his phone out of her hands, and she's like, freaking out, like he just punched her in the throat. But it's like, that's fucked up. I'm sorry, but I just met you, lady. Don't go through my phone. It is messed up that he called Oliver a weirdo. Well, not just a weirdo. He said a fucking weirdo. But I mean, he's 17 years old. I'm not gonna say that 17-year-olds are kind of brutally honest like that, but they are. And she was like, "So, Oliver's a fucking weirdo, eh?" And he said, "No." Like, nah, he is. You don't need to hide it. But then it shows Piper exploring the room she set up in, and how Kathy's name is in like these big letters in there. Kathy is Laura's daughter. Laura's daughter is also blind, and she drowned in the pool in the backyard. Goes from that to showing uh, Laura watching the VCR of the ritual. I'm pretty sure he has Oliver in there with her, because I want to say she has Oliver with her every time she watches videos about the ritual. And next thing we know, Andy woke up and he wet the bed. And he also has a fear of showers right now. Which, I mean, shoot, if you got something traumatic that happened to you, like walking in on your dead dad, and he's in the shower, then I could definitely see being afraid of showers and even having some issues with holding it in, like, because that is all mental as much as it is physical. Cuts to Piper in bed, and she's holding their dad's pillow, which is very sweet, very sad. Then it goes from that to their funeral, and for whatever reason, Laura took some of the dad's hair, like hid some scissors and cut some of his hair out, took it back with her. At the same time, Oliver is at home, broke out of the house, broke glass. He's bleeding everywhere. He's trying to break into the pool house for a reason that we will learn later. And then he hears some chickens, and he proceeds to be so scary with these chickens. These poor chickens. And then cuts back to the funeral, and Laura is basically trying to make Andy kiss his dad, make him look at his dad, because he doesn't want to look at his dad. He is terrified to look at his dad because of how he saw him last time. But Laura is now like, go on, give him a kiss. So that's what Andy does. Andy kisses his dad on the forehead. And then she's like, now his lips. And I'm like, no, that's a little weird. That's weird. She's like, go on, it's a custom. And he's like, no, it's not. It's not a custom where I'm from, that's for sure. And she kisses him on the lips and was like, I've got you. I've got you. Yeah. It's like, okay, you're being kind of sweet, but also really creepy right now. Uh, Goes from that to they're heading home, and Laura's like all hyper, I guess might be the word. And she's like, well, come on, let's have some fun. You know, funerals are so sad, but they're not about misery, they're about celebration. And she's like, all right, Pepper, what do you do for fun? And she's like, I kick Andy in the balls. Very funny. Very funny. But I would hate it if it were me. And then she's like, oh, okay. Well, what about you, Andy? What do you do for fun? And he's like, get hammered. Hell yeah, Andy. With your 17-year-old self. She's like, Laura's like, say less. Let's get hammered. And they end up partying and hell, giving they're even giving Piper drinks and stuff. Like Piper's in this, and they're playing some game I've never heard of. It's like Evens Out or something. I don't know if anybody else has heard of that. I don't know if that's just less of an American thing. Uh, but okay. So it goes from there. They are Piper's like throwing back shots and she's mixing vodka and whiskey. My God. As a as a little kid, that is a terrible idea. I say little kid, she's probably like 15. But that's still a little kid. And then Andy and Laura have kind of like a sweet moment where he's opening up to Laura about how uh how their dad was abusing him, but never once laid a finger on Piper. Like always beat the shit out of him, like beat him so bad like he wouldn't even know where he was and stuff. Very sad, but and then it goes from that to everybody's asleep and Laura's getting this glass out. She's laying down a towel. She ends up squatting over this glass and she pees in it and it's like, Laura, what the hell are you doing? You're in the bathroom. The toilet's right over there. And she pours it on Andy's pants, right around his crotch area. My God, dude. Okay, so I'm gonna take it as Andy never had a pissing problem. He's just been getting pee poured on him. Poor guy. You know how embarrassing that is? It's like if you're 17 years old and you wake up and you pissed yourself, yeah, that's terrifying. And it goes from that to like, they woke up and he's trying to put it in the washer and Laura's standing there like, here, I'll take it here. And then she's like, huh, covered in piss. It's like, yeah, you bitch, you did it. But she's trying to make Andy seem like he's just mentally unstable. Uh, oh shoot, something else I forgot. While Andy was asleep, Laura broke into his phone and deleted the only picture he has of Oliver. You'll find out soon why she did that. Not only is it because he looks rough, but still. But Oliver keeps trying to get this cat, and I was saying that he keeps trying to eat the cat, and then uh, Jesus, what's his name? Andy. I forgot. Andy's outside, like trying to basically do like a little hoe bath with the garden hose spout. And Oliver smacks this fly and then eats this fly. And it got Andy's attention. Andy waves, and then Andy breaks Oliver out of his room because he was locked in there by Laura for a good reason. So Andy's like, here, come on, let's get some fruit. So they go downstairs and he starts cutting this like cantaloupe with the biggest knife he could find. Stupid. And he sticks it out and he's like, here you go, Oliver. And Oliver grabs the entire knife. Oh my God, this scene. Ugh. I can't stand stuff that happens to people's mouths. But he grabs this knife and he proceeds to bite this blade, and it's jacking his teeth up, it's jacking his gums up, his lip, everything. And he's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And he grabs this knife and he's yanking, fighting, and he gets it out after cutting his gums up more. And it's such a gruesome scene. Like, I can handle a movie having like teeth pulling in it. I can handle that. But just the sound and the look of him biting this blade was awful. Like, he's biting the edge, he's biting the tip of it. It's bad. It looks and sounds awful. But Annie's trying to get some help, right? So he's dragging Oliver out, and Oliver's fighting him on it. He doesn't want to get out, and Andy ends up dragging him over the salt line, and that's when he starts freaking out. He is like seizing up, and he falls down, and Laura and Piper get home just in this moment, and Laura's like, "Andy, take her inside. What are you doing outside? What are you doing outside?" And uh Laura learns about this technique where they do like circles on the possessed forehead, and it calms them down. And she fed Oliver the hair from the dad, which I guess is because it's like from a dead person. It might help. I don't know. But yeah. Uh From there, Piper's outside looking for this cat, and this is where we get the actual overhead shot showing the entire salt line. It's a very big salt line. In the VCR tapes, it shows the circle being quite a bit smaller. Like, in the VCR, it was showing like it was small enough to fit in a bathroom. But I guess it doesn't matter how big it is as long as there is a salt line. And then we get Andy trying to take a shower again. And he is in the shower successfully. Except this time he sees his dead dad, and he slips and he cracks his skull. And his dad says that Piper will die in the rain. So Andy ends up going to the hospital. It's raining. He is panicking. And he somehow, I know that I wrote this out of order, but Laura goes to see Andy. It's still raining outside. And Laura says something like, "Well, you're connecting the rain to the shower from when I killed your dad." And then Andy's like, "What? What'd you say?" He's like, she's like, "You know, you are connecting the rain and the shower from when your dad died." He's like, "I'm going nuts." And it's like, "No, cuz I heard it too." And I wrote down, "L killed dad?" Question mark, question mark, question mark. Okay, and it goes from this to Laura and Piper at the house playing in the rain. Then Laura puts Kathy's sweater on Piper and then shows Piper into the pool house, and this is why the pool house is locked and why Oliver was trying to get into it earlier. It's because Laura's dead daughter is in a freezer in there. Oh my god, it was bad. It goes from there to it's like Andy just got back and Laura sprayed herself down with this Axe body spray. which I used to be a teenage boy. Yeah, I used Axe body spray. It was a different day and age. Was the Axe body spray? And then she goes downstairs, and like a true martial artist, she delivers looks like a hammer fist, like it's the UFC, to the side of Piper. Not to the side of Piper, to like Piper's left eye. And of course, she sprayed herself to so that way when Piper woke up, the first thing she would think of is I smelled Andy. But and it kind of does work that way. The next morning, that is how it's going. Is Piper's like, I don't know. All I know is that I got hit by somebody. I woke up and I smelled you. That was it. And Laura's like, you butchered Oliver and you hit your sister and you scaring me. It's all that testosterone and the steroids you're taking. And he's like, it's crazy. Which is really funny. Anyways, Andy notices Oliver outside. He's looking rough. So Andy's like, what did you do to him? What's going on? What are you doing? And he is like taking a video and zooming in on Oliver. Laura snatches his phone, throws it, and Andy punches a hole in the wall next to her head. I'll be honest, I would have preferred him actually hitting her, but he gets the hell out of there. And Andy goes to get Wendy to tell her, like, hey, something's going on. But uh, next thing you know, Oliver is destroying the house, and he like bit this milk jug in half. It was like he is just all over this place, destroying everything, eating everything, and Oliver ends up attacking Laura, bites a chunk out of her arm, and she goes into another room, and he starts copying Laura and starts screaming. Basically, Oliver can copy you if he eats a piece of you. It's pretty rough. But he ends up putting his teeth on this counter, this wooden counter, and it's another bad mouth scene. Like, bad, bad. Like, teeth are getting pulled out from him eating this wood. Ugh, it was so disgusting. And then him chomping down on the splinters and stuff, it's bad. But, this is when we find out that Oliver was actually kidnapped. And his name is not Oliver. His name's Connor. But Andy gets Wendy to kind of sort of. He's like, Wendy, look, we gotta go. We gotta go. Piper's in danger. But next thing we know, Andy is in the car with Wendy and he is leaving a voice message for Piper, and he's getting emotional and he's opening up about their dad and how he would never ever hit her again. The time that he did hit her, he was 8 years old. That's a pretty young age. I mean, shoot, yeah. You don't know how to really regulate your emotions at 8 years old. But yeah, Andy's getting emotional. Laura does this like circular trick in this really cool shot with the glass and Oliver outside. It calms Oliver down enough to where Laura guides him back into the uh, pool house. And Oliver is proceeds to like keep eating Kathy, Laura's daughter. But Laura gets a little bit unhinged whenever whenever Wendy and Andy get there and they start investigating, and Wendy sees that something's wrong, because she can tell something's obviously wrong when you're bleeding and people are saying these things about you and what's going on. When I mean unhinged, I mean the Russell Crowe movie. Like, she full on hits Andy and Wendy. She gets Wendy on the grill of her car for a minute before ramming her into her own car. But during that time, like right after hitting the both of them, Laura gets out and proceeds to hold Andy's head in a puddle and kill him, which really surprised me. I was expecting him to be able to fight back and, overpower her maybe, but nope, that was not the movie that we were watching today. Oliver proceeded to eat part of Andy and Wendy and started copying Andy's voice to guide Piper to him. And Piper finds him and is feeling him, and we can see that something's wrong, and she's probably feeling that something is wrong. And Piper's like, I heard Andy. And Laura's like, oh no, it's just Oliver. And Piper's like, hey, what kind of hair did Oliver have again? And Laura's like, it's red and curly. Oliver's bald. So that sets something up in Piper's brain, and she books it. She takes off running into this bathroom, locks the door, and she ended up finding Andy's body. She knows that it's him because she felt his teeth and felt his braces, and it's an emotional scene. It was really sad. It was one of those, like, this movie does get pretty sad and emotional during times. But Piper ended up grabbing this glass and she threw it at Laura like a damn baseball pitcher. I was so proud. She hit her in the damn forehead. I was happy. I'm like, yes, beat that bitch's ass. Ended up not going that way. Shows Oliver outside, and he's like skinny, but he's got this giant gut. If you've ever seen a goblin at a Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, that's what it reminded me of. Just that build. Sorry, I had to take a sip of coffee. Laura almost drowns Piper in this pool, which the whole ritual requires Laura to kill Piper the same way that Kathy died. Piper ends up escaping after calling Laura mom, which was really sad, and I think it got Laura to kind of see, like, she hasn't been thinking of these people as people. She hasn't been thinking of them as kids. She's been thinking them as they are how I get my daughter back. But Piper starts to escape, and Oliver attacks her, and I mean, shoot, she can't see, but she grabs a hold of both of his shoulders and knees him in the gut like a damn Muay Thai fighter. I was so happy. And Oliver's like puking up this blood and stuff. It's disgusting. Piper ends up escaping. Thank God. She escapes. She finds another car and she gets out of there. Oliver is like realizing who he is. He realizes that, oh my God, wait, I'm a person. Because he sees the missing poster of him. And he starts to walk outside, and he walks outside the salt circle, and basically leaving the salt circle gets to where the spirit is out of you. So yeah, he gets the spirit out of him, and oh my God, it's bad. Like, he's got wounds everywhere, and he's jacked up, but the cops do find him and save him. And Laura proceeds to kill herself and drag. Well, she has the chunk that Oliver bit out of her arm, and she like squeezed and ripped part of that so that way she will bleed out. And she proceeded to grab Kathy's body and float in the pool with her. And I guess she ended up dying, and Piper ends up listening to the voicemail from Andy, and that's so sad. But yeah, like I said, this movie, it's got a few scary scenes and it's got some uncomfortable scenes, but this was also more like an emotional, sad movie. This movie really did have a lot of sad moments in it. Please go check it out. It was really good. Uh, like I said, all of the acting in this movie is really, really good. Sally Hawkins does an incredible job in this role. Uh, I just didn't understand how she did so well, especially with like the very beginning and towards the end when like she is losing her freaking mind. But that's all I have for you today. Uh, if I can manage to get to it tomorrow, I would love to go through Talk to Me. That is the first film that Raka Raka made with A24. And it was one that like set expectations. It was a really good movie when it came out. Like everybody loved it. It was that big thing everybody was talking about. It's one of those movies that is in A24's like top 10, maybe even top 5. But yeah, I hope that y'all have a wonderful day, and I cannot wait to see you in the next episode. I love y'all. Goodbye.